What's going on, everybody? I am your host this week for the Marvelite podcast. It's me, Will. What is this, episode 116? With me, I have my regular co-host who has returned from the parallel world. We have Marvel Luke, aka Lord Vaporeon. We have Yusuf, who also is, as people don't know, he's the one that edits my videos. So
yeah, I do. Yeah, that's where I went. I went from making videos to editing. Yeah, they let me out the closet to do a podcast, so I'm happy to be here.
Exactly. And we also have someone else who it's not your first time talking to us, but I think it's your first time being on the show. That boy Waru. It's that boy. Marvel is actually going through a big kind of rebranding under CB Cebulski, and they're like really looks like they're going a lot more back to their roots. Because we got a new Avengers team coming up, and it's like we got Thor back with a gold arm and a gold Mjolnir. We got Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Steve Rogers, Cap America, Tony Stark, Iron Man, Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, She-Hulk, and I think Doctor Strange is in the back.
I think it's Jason Aaron.
Okay, I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's Jason Aaron with art by Ed McGuinness, and it will publish 18 issues in a year. Good Lord Almighty.
Okay.
That's but yeah, this is interesting. It seems like Cebulski's taking the company in a very different direction ever since he's taken over since after Alonso. We have Bendis leaving, Dan Slott's getting off Spider-Man. So I don't know, what are you guys thinking about the direction they're taking? I think I'm a little hesitant, but I think it's signs of good things to come, as long as like the writers behind it are good. Like I think Cebulski is trying to make it. I don't want to say it's just like the good old days, but I think he wants to make them more respected, like their books more respected, and like when it comes to telling these stories with these characters, not like forcing the changes that the way that Marvel has done in the past.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So Marvel is relaunching again. Why? But at the same time, this does look better than what they did back in 2016 and 2017.
Yeah, it looks more optimistic with the direction that they're like trying to take it and everything. I don't know, Luke, what do you think, man?
I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, that's.
I'll say that, like, as someone who mainly reads DC comics, and I haven't read Marvel. I have not necessarily Marvel. I read Marvel comics. I haven't read per se like the main runs. Yeah. Like Avengers in a while. I mean, this is something like, you know, we can sit back and joke like, oh, another rebrand. I like obviously like no matter what company, it's like we want them to do good because like we want, you know, the comics the stories to be good. We want you know them to sell good. Yep. And so hopefully like whatever it is they're gonna do, because it's like I don't think they're doing this just to try to keep doing new things. I think they're really trying to figure out like how to like fix their branding, not necessarily fix it, but get it back to the glory that it once had. Maybe not even like it wasn't even that long ago, really. You know what I mean? It's like it's just like
30 years at most.
It's like yeah. It's like it's not. It really wasn't. And so like I saw the cover. I don't like buff She-Hulk. But like
she's too big.
Yeah, she crushes
way
too big, and I think
crushes weights with her thighs.
Yeah, and I think that sort of like takes away from her like femininity in a way, making her that damn big. But that's another discussion for another day.
Never know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if they're finally going to get, you know, the characters right, because I feel like for so long they've been so out of touch with their fan base, and they've just been trying to appeal to particularly one group of people. And I'm not trying to get
that group of people doesn't really read comics.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't read comics.
That's the problem.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to, you know, get political or anything, but I just wish that, you know, they would just start and see, like, they have talent. You know, they've always had talent on all of their books. And, you know, obviously some I think better than others, but, you know, for the most part, it's kind of like what Yusuf is saying. Like, I want to see them get back to their former glory, and just kind of stop trying to appease this. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They should stop trying to appease Generation Z, because that seems, you know, that seems who they're trying to market towards are these, you know, high schoolers. You know, these 15, 16-year-olds, and
at the end of the day,
they don't read comics.
Exactly.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it's just like tell good stories. And if it so happens that these are, like, I'm not saying don't add, like, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Don't add aspects of, like, political or social discussions into the stories, because that can make a story interesting. But you have to have good people that know how to do it. It can't be heavy-handed, like, you're wrong because you think this. Like, I think one of the things that helps, and we'll get into this when we talk more about Black Panther, is what helps some of the movies work is that the focus is on that writing and telling a good story, and then you can add layers to it through the dialogue that kind of blurs the line, because a lot of the writing makes it seem a lot more black and white, and a lot of people seem either attacked or, like, barraged by dialogue. Like, despite I've heard good things about the, Jane Thor and her run, I still remember seeing the panel about that stupid, crazy, like, misogynistic guy who's just like, ugh, women always with the feminism. Then she smacked him in the face with a hammer. I'm like, no one talks like that. No one does.
The first story arc.
Like, I heard it got better after that. I'm like, great, that's awesome, but dude. Or, like, the blocky text that I've seen in America. I'm like, good God, man.
I just think that, their best option moving forward is getting back to the basics and stop focusing on all these damn crossovers all the time. I mean,
just, like, chill with the events and just have good writers teams. That's all you need.
Exactly. Like, cancel half your books that aren't selling and focus on what sells the most. I mean, just from a business aspect, that's what you want to do. Focus
that's why their prices are so high now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You got to focus on what sells the most. Cut out this, I'm sorry, but, like, things like Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, it doesn't sell. Squirrel Girl doesn't sell. I even heard that, Captain Marvel's books are doing terrible right now. So
because
Captain Marvel hasn't found her group yet, and they keep trying to push her. And I don't know what it is, but I think it's no one gets who that character is. I don't. I haven't read I don't know much about the character, so I can't say what she's supposed to be like either. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, I don't think anyone does.
They've had this really shitty formula since, like, 2014 of, if a book isn't doing good, they'll just rebrand it with a new #1, with a new arc and a new writer, and it's like, that's terrible. Like that's so
horrible business
bad.
Model.
Stop trying to reinvent, established characters that have existed for years just because you can't find a proper writer, or you can't tell a good story, or you're trying to appeal to a certain group of people and the books aren't selling. Like, if that's the case and you can't figure it out, just cancel it outright. Just cancel outright. Come back later when you can figure it out. Because, like, just doing that, dude, it's, like, fatiguing everyone, and it's making
people's trade lists are insane, or not their trade, their monthly list.
Exactly, like,
just to keep up with stuff.
Like, their solicitations are just, like, disgusting, and in terms of how much they're trying to churn out. And I can almost guarantee you that the writers and artists are overpaid or they're overworked and underpaid. I can almost guarantee you that.
Oh man, I can tell, like, they're kind of, I don't want to say tired, but, like, they have so many books to, like, be on. Like, it's exhausting. Like Bendis, like, he had, like, 5 or 6 books.
Dude, he was on half the books at one time.
Yeah, and I'm like, why would you do? I'm like, first of all, why would you do that to someone that works at your company? 2, someone who can actually be a good writer. But 3, what happens when he takes over stuff? Shit starts to not make any sense after a while. And I like Bendis' writing, but man, Civil War 2 was hot garbage.
Dude, that event ruined Captain Marvel.
Like, not only did it ruin Captain Marvel, but it kind of ruined Thanos too, because I'm getting sick of like we get it, okay? Like, he's a villain. He's one of many villains that exist, and I know that he's going to be, star in his own movie pretty much, here soon, but still, dude, it's like, just stop with so much of the synergy, is what they like to call it, between the movies and the comics. Like, you realize there's been this
just tell good stuff.
Massive push for him in the comics, and it was just like, just stop it, please. I mean, like, honestly, the last good thing that he was in, there was a Thanos annual #1 that came out a couple years ago, and then Infinity. Like, those were the last 2 things that Thanos was in where it was actually good. And, like, other than that, everything he was in is just hot garbage. And it doesn't deserve a book,
Even when he was in Ultimates, it was more of a means to an end type situation. Like, I hate that they kind of had to shoehorn Civil War 2 into Ultimates because it's such a good book. And I'm like, the funniest part was that Ultimates broke Civil War II because of America and her power to go to alternate dimensions. She straight up shows Carol. She's like, hey, this is what happens if you keep going down the path you're doing. This is why what you believe is wrong. And she's like, fuck you, I'm still right. I'm like, did you learn nothing?